So you've decided you want to become a data analyst. How do you get there? Well, there are two things you need pretty much universally across all jobs when you're applying, is skills and experience, which is the application of those skills you've learned. First things first, before doing any upskilling or experience or project, I would first do the Google Data Analytics certificate. And I know everyone has a data analytics certificate from Google, but the most valuable thing you get from that is you know what a data analytics job looks like, so that when you're doing your upskilling and getting your experience, you know, oh, I'll probably need that in my job. Should probably focus a bit more on that. You can crash course this in about 5 days if you do it, if you really put your mind to it. The skills. Now you have hard skills and you have soft skills. The soft skills are things like communication, time management, how well you deal with conflict. We're going to focus on the hard skills. So these are what tools you can actually upskill in to make yourself a better data analyst, actually analysing the data. So there are 4 skills I would learn to become a data analyst in 2024. The first is Microsoft Excel. The second is SQL. The third is Microsoft Power BI, and then the fourth is Python. So why learn these 4? I'd start with Excel because that is the bread and butter of all entry-level data analytics jobs. It's still the bread and butter of high-paying senior data analyst roles. Everyone uses Excel in data analytics. That's because it's so easy to get some data into Excel, do a few quick graphs, quick pivot tables, you can get Power Query, you can transform your data, and it's universally understood by stakeholders. You can just quickly email a Excel file with a bit of data, a few charts, and they're happy. You can also go a step further with Excel using VBA and build dashboards. Now, dashboards are something that Power BI is replacing, but Excel still has its benefits in that you can customize it however you like because you can code in VBA. So what would the mini roadmap within learning Excel be? So firstly, I'd start with learning formulas, things like sum, VLOOKUP is a really useful one, get pivot data. I'd learn how to use pivot tables, how to mix them, match them, and then get the pivot data from pivots. And then the third thing I'd learn is Power Query. So this allows you to get data sets from like a CSV and transform it. Final, I'd probably learn VBA just to get familiar with it, just know what you can do with it. Things like automate charts, automate processes. Okay, so that's Excel. Now let's go on to SQL or SQL or SQL. SQL technically is a programming language, but it's a very basic written how you would say it. So you say, I would like to select this data from this table where there's more than 20 customers or something like that. It's a way of getting large data sets from a database and summarizing it into a smaller data set so that you can process it in Excel or Power BI or Python. Right, so onto the third skill, Microsoft Power BI. Power BI is essentially a dashboard building tool where you can put a lot of data, much more than you can in Excel, into Power BI, and it will compress it and you can work and build dashboards and reports that you can update monthly, weekly, daily, and you can, they're more for seeing trends over time and for stakeholders to keep an eye on what's happening. Power BI is really good for sharing with people as opposed to sending an Excel spreadsheet or putting that on the SharePoint. With Power BI, you can just say, yeah, I'll give you access so you can see the dashboard going forward while you update it. I would probably learn best by going on YouTube how to build really nice looking dashboards, because that's the thing that can set you apart, is building something that looks nice as well as is functional, because you can't put lipstick on a pig, can you? After you've learned some Microsoft Power BI, I'd learn Python.
It's just, I've never talked to a snake before.
And Python is an object-oriented programming language, which essentially means you can store code in classes and objects. Python's not usually on most data analytics learning videos, but I think it's really useful because you can apply the skills of Python to pretty much any other object-oriented programming language, and it is the easiest to start with and learn. So for example, in my role, I didn't know any SAS. So SAS is a programming language where you can do for loops, do loops, which is everything that I learned in Python. So it allowed me to, in the interview, say, you know what, I don't really know SAS, but I know Python. I understand how debugging works. I understand why a for loop might not work. How do you learn these skills? You can go online. That's the most preferred route. You just go online, watch YouTube videos, do courses on Udemy, Skillshare. My preferred way of learning was using textbooks. So this is the textbook that I learned Python with. It takes you through the basics first, and then it has projects throughout, so you can build a online website, game. It's quite a fun book to learn from. So we've covered our 4 skills that we need to learn. How do you apply those skills and use them in the interview to say you've actually used those skills? So what data can you analyze? Well, you can get data from online data sets, Kaggle, but I tend to prefer doing something that would also benefit me if I'm spending all this time on it. I really liked analysing my finances as an example project. So a lot of online banks allow you to export your data as a CSV, so you can download your spendings and your income. Let's go through the process of a data analyst. You'd first get this data from the source, so you're getting it from your online bank into a CSV. Say it's a really big data set. You want to use SQL to condense that into a form that's summarized by month. Let's now take this over to Excel, where we can use our skills there. In Power Query in Excel, we can get this CSV and bring it into a table. Now what we can do is summarize that data with a pivot table. So we've done SQL and Excel, and now we can also do a Power BI dashboard that can monitor our ongoing expenses every month by connecting to a CSV source that you download. You can take this one step further with Python, and you can automate that CSV download process, looping through your CSV, how to read in a CSV. So if you're working at the moment, it's a lot easier to have a project and put evidence in the interview that says, I've done this with Excel and Python. That's what will set you aside, is saying, yeah, I know Excel, I know SQL. A lot of people do, but it's, have you used those skills to solve a problem, which is mainly what the role of a data analyst is. Maybe you want to hear how I did it. This was me probably about 2 years ago. I worked as a plant inspector, so I went through fields looking for plant diseases. There was no data analytics in it whatsoever. So how am I meant to know that all these plants, all these declarations like AD 48B, legislation 2. So I thought, there's a much better way we can do this. We have a CSV of all the list of the plants. We also have a massive document containing all the additional declarations needed. How about we take the CSV, put it in Excel, and do a simple VLOOKUP that plant, and it will return the additional declaration that you need. So now this Excel spreadsheet, you could do something that took someone an hour in about 5 minutes. So I saved all that time. I used this in the interview for my data analytics job and said, here was the problem. It was a really slow process. I improved the process by making it automated just by using a simple VLOOKUP formula. That's the kind of stuff that got me the job. Yeah, I've got to go do my data analytics job now because it's 8 o'clock in the morning.